Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maggie and I upload videos on lifestyle, beauty, and fashion. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Now, for this week's video, I am going to be talking to you guys about my labor and delivery story. Yes, I know I'm like 8 months late, but I still really wanted to make this video for you guys. To be honest with you guys, I've been wanting to make this video for the longest time, but after I gave birth to my son, my postpartum recovery was terrible. It was very long, and by the time that I felt up to it, it was like Halloween time, so I did a whole bunch of Halloween videos, and then Christmas time came around and I did Vlogmas. Then I did like my hair mini-series and my COVID mini-series, so it's like it was just never the right time. But now that everything has settled down, we're into the new year, I thought I could still make this video. I still remember a lot of details, so it should still be just as good. And also, don't mind my nails, a few of them did fall off, but it's okay. I have an appointment to get them done, so it should be fine. But I do talk with my hands a lot, and you're probably gonna see it. It might bother some of you guys, it might not, I don't know, but just in case. So yeah. All right, what was I? My labor and delivery story. So yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been wanting to do this video for the longest. Never was the right time. Now it feels like the right time. And to be honest, I don't even know how you guys feel about my pregnancy videos, or if you guys would be into me sharing more about my baby and all the milestones that he's reached. I honestly don't know. Please comment down below and let me know, guys. Do you like pregnancy videos? Do you want to see more about my son, my baby? He's 8 months going on 9 months. I could do videos about breastfeeding journey. I could do videos about what he started to do each month. I honestly love posting videos about all topics, so you guys need to help me. Let me know what you prefer to watch from me. If you want to see any other type of content, just let me know and I'd be happy to make those videos for you. Make sure you comment below. I see you watching my videos and I see you not leaving comments, so please let me know. But yeah, so like always, I've rambled on. Let me just get straight into my story. If you've seen my pregnancy update videos, then you would know that my pregnancy was considered high risk because I do have Sjogren's syndrome, and if you don't know what that is, I'll put it up here on the screen. But make sure to go check out my video where I did talk about what Sjogren's syndrome is and how it affected my pregnancy. Basically, because of the Sjogren's syndrome, I did have a higher risk pregnancy, and also the fact that we were like in the middle of a pandemic. You know, I did have to go to the doctor's office way more often than I would have if I didn't have Sjogren's, but it's all good. Everything was to make sure the baby was safe, and my due date was for June 10th. So at first, the doctors were talking about possibly inducing me early, like at 38 weeks as opposed to 40 weeks, which is supposed to be full term. But since I wasn't really high risk, I was like a low high risk, they didn't force it. So if I reached my 40 weeks on my own naturally, 40 weeks? Yeah. If I reached my 40 weeks on my own naturally, then it was fine. They let me. The only thing was that if I did go past my due date, then they wanted to induce me. So they didn't really want me to go past the 40-week mark. Like some women are able to go to 41 or even 42 weeks before giving birth, but my doctor didn't want me to pass 40 weeks and a few days, basically. So for June 11th, I was scheduled to be induced. If I didn't go into labor by myself on my own by June 10th, then June 11th was gonna be the day. I don't know, something about myself is that I'm very into like zodiac signs, so you know, I knew my baby was gonna be a Gemini no matter what, but I did have a preference as to what actual date he would be born. Both my boyfriend and I wanted him to be born on June 10th, which was my actual due date, because my boyfriend's date of birth is October 10th, which is 10/10, and if it wasn't gonna be on the 10th, then we wanted the 13th. I just love the number 13. I know a lot of people see that number as a day of bad luck or whatever, but I love Friday the 13th. I feel like 13 is actually a number of good luck. And also, I was born October 31st, so it is like, you know, my date but reverse, 31 13. I don't know. If you let me go on talking about numbers, I can drive you crazy. But the point is that our preference was either for him to be born on the 10th or the 13th. So we were hoping and praying that I would go into labor naturally by the 10th. It didn't work out that way. Our little boy had his own plans. He was like,
I'm not going to be born when mommy and daddy wants me to. I'm going to be born when I want to.
So June 10th came around, my due date. I did not go into labor. June 11th came around. We had our bags ready. We went to the hospital prepared to bring back a baby. And my appointment was at 4 p.m. They didn't give me a bed until like, I don't know, 5 or 6 p.m. Like we had to wait a few hours. So I forgot to mention that my bed wasn't ready when I got there at 4 p.m. So they actually told me to go out and eat something before I was to be admitted to the hospital, because once my labor would start, I would not be allowed to eat any foods whatsoever. So right across the street was McDonald's. So my boyfriend and I went to McDonald's and we sat down and we ate there before heading back to the hospital and starting the whole process. Yeah. And then first they explained to me this. They told me that they were going to insert a pill into my V place and it was supposed to like dissolve in there and basically induce me, like get started my labor. I feel like it was like around 7, I don't know, by the time, it took a few hours. By the time they actually inserted the pill into me, it was like 7 or 8 p.m. or something like that. Don't ask me about times because honestly, it's all a blur when it comes to the actual time. But all I know is that if the pill didn't do fully its work or something, then they would be inducing me with Pitocin, which is basically this drip that they put in an IV. And the drip is what really induces your labor. Honestly, guys, I didn't feel nothing for the first few hours. I would say like after the first 5 hours was when I was starting to feel like, okay, some labor pains are coming. And then the doctor came in, they checked me, and if you don't know how they check women to see how far they are dilated, guys, you don't want to know. It's a horrible experience. It's probably one of the worst parts about giving birth. But yeah, when they checked me after the first 5 hours, I was only 3 centimeters dilated. Mind you, guys, you have to be 10 centimeters dilated in order to be able to push your baby out. I already have some experience with being induced because this was my second baby and I was also induced with my first son. So that's a whole nother story. If you guys want a whole separate video, I can talk to you guys about how my first labor and delivery story differed from this one. So 5 hours after the pill, I'm like still in labor pains, only 3 centimeters dilated. And then they were like, okay, you know what? At this point, we can do the Pitocin drip and that will definitely bring on your labor much quicker. Well, you know what I mean, like make your labor go faster. So I'm like low-key happy because I'm like, I want to get this over with. I want to meet my son, but at the same time I'm like, oh my god, I know this is definitely gonna bring on the real pain because with the pill, by the end of the 5 hours, I was feeling it, but it was like mild cramp pains. Like if you get your period, not the same, but more or less, that's along the lines of how it felt. So once they did the Pitocin drip, I had to wait another 5 hours before the doctor would check. 5 hours more came, and when the doctor checked me, guys, I wanted to cry. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wanted to cry. I had been in labor for 10 hours, and when they checked me again, in the last 5 hours, I had only gone from 3 centimeters dilated to 4.
Do you know what that is?
I was expecting to be at least at 6 because I was like, okay, if the first 5 hours was 3, another 5 hours 6. Nope. And by this point, it was no longer mild cramp pains. It was like severe cramp pains. And every time a contraction would come along, I would feel the severe back pain as well. I don't remember how far along each contraction was. Usually at the beginning, I feel like it was like very far apart, and then it became closer, and then it was like 4 minutes apart. But then I think another 5 hours went by, and by this time I hadn't even taken the epidural. I was trying to hold out as long as possible before going on the epidural, and my hope was really to not have to do the whole epidural thing. I did it the first time around. I wanted to experience natural labor and birth, but guys, 15 hours into labor, after being induced, having severe labor pains. If you've had a baby, you know what I'm talking about. You know, I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't do this no more. Like, for this labor had gone on for much longer than my first one did, so this was new to me. And then on top of that, the pains were just getting worse and worse, and they were getting closer and closer together. Like, I got to the point where they were like 2 minutes, 1 minute apart. At this point, guys, I was 7 centimeters dilated. 7. So after 15 hours in labor, I was like 7 centimeters dilated. I couldn't take the pain anymore. I was like, please put the epidural in me. Like, come, let's go do this right now. I was scream. I wasn't screaming, but I was literally moaning. I was moaning of pain. Honestly, they say you forget labor pains, but it hasn't even been a year, so I still remember that pain. It was like this burning pain, burning, like literally burning inside of me. And then the back pain just made it even worse. I could barely move. I didn't want to do anything, and I couldn't take it, you know. So at this point, it's been 15 hours. I'm like, I'm ready for epidural. I can't take it no more. I'm 7 centimeters dilated. I'm still 3 whole centimeters away, and God knows how many more hours that was gonna take. I was in so much pain that I was like, I cannot imagine myself going through this pain every 2 minutes or 1 minute, because my contractions were all over the place. Like, Like sometimes it would be 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Like they were just going back and forth. Even the nurses were like, what the hell, this is weird. Like usually like it keeps coming faster and faster, it doesn't go back and forth. But for me, it was going back and forth. It was extremely painful, and
I was like, give me that epidural.
so I needed to pee though. So they were like, if you want to pee, go pee now, that you can actually move your legs and move around, so that way we don't have to insert a catheter in you. So if you don't know what a catheter is, it's basically this thing that they insert, and it's very uncomfortable. I had the catheter first time around. I was not going to look forward to that. So I was like, you know what? If I can avoid the catheter, I will. Let me get up, even though I'm in so much pain. Let me get up and go pee by myself. Guys, ¿pa qué fue eso? I have never gone to the bathroom to pee in so much pain ever in my life. And I've been through some things. I've been through labor before, by the way. Like, I've been through labor. This is not the first time around, but this is very, very different. Very different. And they usually say the more kids you have, the easier it gets, but that was not the case for me. Like, I don't even know how to explain to you guys and how much pain I was. I could barely breathe. I could barely move. I didn't want to move. And like going to the bathroom, walking to the bathroom, sitting down to pee was the worst. It was the worst. It was horrible. Horrible. So obviously my boyfriend is with me the whole time. He's like trying to help me out and breathe and all that. That wasn't working. Oh, and mind you, this dude was on the phone. But by the time we got to the worst part of my contractions, he was on FaceTime with his mom and his sister. I wanted to kill him. No offense, I love my mother-in-law and I love my sister-in-law, but the last thing that I wanted, was for him to be distracted on FaceTime and for these extra 2 people to see me in this much pain. I couldn't look at the phone. I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't do anything. All I was doing was moaning, making these weird ass noises. Like, who the fuck wants to hear me moan? No, it's not cute, okay? It's not cute. It wasn't cute. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys. I had my hair done to go give birth. I had my makeup done. At first, when they first induced me, I was doing TikToks. Like, I was chilling. I was thinking, I'm gonna bring my son to this earth looking all cute. Guys, by the time it had been 15 hours, and by the time I was about to be put on the epidural, I had sweat on my hair. I had made the doctor braid it or like tie it up or something, because it wasn't the freaking way. My hair was super long. If you see my previous videos, then you know my hair was super long. It was in the way. I was sweating like crazy, and the last thing I wanted on my face was makeup. Like, I just wanted to wipe that shit off. It was horrible. But yeah, point blank being, even though I had glammed up, the last thing I wanted was to be on FaceTime with my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. So I low-key was hating my boyfriend. I low-key wanted to kill him. And I low-key wanted to grab his phone and just throw it across the room. But I didn't say much because I was just like in so much pain that it was even hard for me to speak. Most of the things that was coming out of my mouth was just weird noises. And yeah, so at this point he's like putting the phone down, helping me go to the bathroom. I don't even know if he like spoke to them and told them he'll call them back. I feel like he got on and off the phone with them a couple of times. No idea, blacked out about that part. But yeah, he helps me go to the bathroom. I pee in so much pain. I walk back to the bed, and then thankfully by that time the, what do you call them, anesthesiologist, I don't know, the person that comes in to put the epidural is not your regular doctor. But yeah, so he comes in with another person and he's like explaining everything to me. Mind you, my contractions are like 2 to 1 minute apart. They're the most severe burning pain that I've ever had in my life, with severe back pains. And he's like telling me all of these things. There's this whole paperwork part that you have to do because, you know, it's a risk, just like any medical procedure. So he's like, blah 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 blah, this is all I heard, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then he's like, you gotta sign here. And I'm like, oh my god. And then every time I'm having a contraction, I'm like holding on to I'm like holding on to the bed and moaning like crazy. And then when the contraction passes, I'm like, okay, I gotta sign this quickly. They're making me sign all this paperwork, explaining to me all this thing about the procedure. I'm like, yes, I've done this before. And I literally tell them, like, guys, I've done this before. Do you really have to explain to me again? And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, okay, hurry up. Mind you, the whole time I'm like scared that it's about to be too late for them to put the epidural in me, because I think I don't even know. I didn't ask, but I feel like there's a certain point where it's too late. Like, you kind of have to just ride out the pain because you cannot get the epidural anymore. I feel like I was so close to that point because of how close my contractions were and how much pain I was in. So I was like,
Get her on, put it in me. Okay, that's it.
so So yeah, finally they explain everything. I fill out all the paperwork. They make me sit up on the bed and they give me this big pillow to lean on, because like basically the epidural is this long ass needle that goes into your back, and it's very important that you do not move at all while they are inserting the medicine that is in this needle. So I'm like getting contractions every freaking minute, so I have like no breaks in between, and they have to insert this needle into my back that could potentially paralyze me if I make any bad movement. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's do this, please. I just want some pain relief. Finally they get behind me, they do the setup, they gotta sterilize you, clean up the area and all of that. So it takes a while, guys. Like, not only do you have to wait for the actual epidural to kick in once it's in, but it takes a while just to put it in. So I'm like, oh my god, holding onto this pillow. I have a nurse right in front of me. Bless her soul. This nurse was a beautiful human being. She told me everything, like what to do. She was holding on to me. She was telling me how to stay still. And if it wasn't for that lady, guys, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been able to do what I had to do. Me here. I forgot to mention real quick that my boyfriend wasn't able to support me at this moment in time because they actually had him standing away from me. The only people that were allowed to be around me was the nurse and the anesthesiology people, because, you know, the whole area basically had to be sterilized or something. So they made him stand in the doorway far away from me. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. In the middle of them inserting the epidural into my back, like needle in my back and everything, I feel it, that's there. Guys, my water breaks. Like, not only was I having this extremely painful contractions, but all of a sudden I feel something warm coming down, like just running down. It's like peeing on yourself times 10. It feels like a warm jelly sensation, like it's like thicker than your pee. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm like, guys, and like in extreme pain, I'm like, I think I'm peeing on myself. I'm like about to cry, and I'm like, I think I'm peeing on myself. And they're like, no, that's just your water, it broke, no worries, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, I should just stay sitting on top of it, because I'm like, it's literally piling up under me. So I'm like, am I supposed to just stay on top of this warm liquid? And they're like, yes, let's just finish with the epidural. Once we're done with putting the epidural, then we can, you know, change, because they have like a whole bunch of pads under you always, so then they can change out the pads. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit in this warm liquid in this extreme pain while a long ass needle is being inserted into my spine. Guys, I don't know why I remember this so clearly. Like I said, it's been already 8 months, and it was definitely an experience. It was an experience. And that pain that I felt, there's nothing else like it. Like, is this excruciating pain. What makes it worse is the fact that you also have this freaking pain on the lower back. Like, you're feeling all this pain up here in the front area, but then it's also concentrated in your lower back area. The birth of life. I don't know, it's just crazy, guys. Like, yeah, once they finish with the epidural, which by the way does not kick in right away, so I'm still feeling these contractions back to back a lot. They make me get up before like I lose all feeling. The epidural just like kind of paralyzes you from the waist down, not completely but mostly, to the point where you can't really no longer get up from bed or move around. Right after they finish, they make me get up, they clean out the area where, you know, my water broke, they make me lay down back in the bed, and at this point contractions are still coming, still very painful. I'm like, oh my god, when is this epidural gonna kick in? But eventually it does kick in. I don't remember how long it took, like if it was like half an hour, an hour. All I remember is that eventually it did kick in, and it was such a relief, guys. Such a relief. And at this point I was finally able to rest, because mind you, I was basically in labor all night leading up to the next day. Obviously I couldn't rest well the whole night, because you know, these pains coming in now, it's hard to sleep. Once they put the epidural, I was finally able to rest a little. I think I might have taken a nap, I don't even remember. At this point, like I said, I was already 7 centimeters dilated, so I was only 3 centimeters away. And after my water broke, I feel like it just kind of made everything run faster. Like, I think 2 hours later I had already given birth. So I was finally at 10 centimeters. It was June 12th, the next day at 12 p.m. or something, that they were like, you're gonna have to push soon, so be ready. I'm like, yes, finally, goodness gracious. Like, I was no longer in extreme pain, but I wanted to just meet my son, you know, like I wanted to see him, like this little human thing that's been moving around in me for all these moms, like I was so ready to meet him. Next thing I know, it's time to like practice pushing. So they come to me, they're like, all right, we're gonna do some practice pushes. We're gonna let you know when to push, because you do have to push while you're having a contraction. Once they put the epidural inside you, it's so hard to know when you're having a contraction because you're no longer feeling the pain. You feel something, but it's like, it's hard to tell. So the nurses would tell me like, okay, you're having a contraction, push now. And they basically tell me how to push and all of this. Honestly, this part gets a little blurry for me. I don't remember at what point they told me to start pushing for real. Like, I don't know how long I was practice pushing. I just know that at this point, it feels like it's moving on faster. It might not have been as fast, but everything is moving faster. You have doctors coming in and out to introduce themselves and letting you know that they're gonna also be helping you. A lot of different nurses. Like, I don't even know who my nurse was. I don't know who my doctor was. My boyfriend is like holding my leg on one side. The nurse is holding my leg on the other side. They're like, okay, push. So every time they tell me to push, I push. Guys, pushing is no joke. Like, even though I did have the epidural, you're pushing on another level. Like, you cannot hold your breath while you're pushing. You have to make sure you're breathing, and then at the same time you have to push as hard as you could ever push anything out. So it's like, they tell you that it's almost like if you're pooping, like if you're pushing to poop, but you have to do it very hard. All I know is that every single time I pushed, it feels like your head is gonna explode. Like, I could feel my face just getting super red, my veins probably popping out in all these weird places, and it's almost like I'm holding my breath. And it's just, you have to push extremely hard, you have to push for a certain amount of seconds, and you have to push for a while. So I've heard of women that had to push for like an hour or two, which is crazy. Honestly, it did not go for me that way the first time around, and it did not go for me that way this time either. I think I pushed for like maybe half an hour max. I don't remember. All I know is that I pushed. Thankfully, there was no intervention. Sometimes they intervene with like some vacuum thing or like some forceps. Like, none of that was needed, thank God. I was able to push out my son completely on my own. And yeah, on June 12th at 1:22 p.m., my baby boy was born, and he was 8 pounds and a half. I think it was like 8 pounds and 10 ounces to be exact. Yes, I had an 8-pounder. Honestly, I was expecting to have a 7-pound baby, but it's okay. He was 20 inches long. Yeah, my beautiful baby boy was born. His name is Sage Oliver. He does have his dad's last name and mine, which, you know, it's a little extra, but I really wanted him to have my last name too. It's honestly the most beautiful experience that you can think of. As painful as it is, it's always worth it in the end. You literally created a whole human being in your body, you know, like, it doesn't get any better than that. And then for 8 months now, I've been breastfeeding exclusively. So it's like, not only did I give birth to this beautiful being, but my body has been able to maintain his life. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy. My little Gemini, he's definitely a character. He definitely has a personality now. My older son loves him. He loves his older brother. It's honestly, truly out of this world, you know, out of this world. I'm so thankful that everything went well. There were no complications with the birth. There were no complications with the baby. Once he came out, everything was pretty smooth sailing, with the exception of breastfeeding. That's a whole nother story for another day. But let me introduce you guys to my baby. I mean, you guys seen it. If you've seen my pregnancy transformation video, then you've seen him as a newborn. And if you've seen my, you know, videos here and there, I'll show snippets of him. But he's 8 months old now, guys. He's like crawling. He says dada, he says mama, and he's just a full-on character. Let me show you guys. So this is my baby. He was playing with his dad. This is little Sage boy. Yes, we are matching, guys. I am that type of mom. But give way. Hey, you wanna eat mommy's head? He has 2 little teeth at the bottom. And, you know, he's 8 months old. Say hi, guys. Say hi. Hi. He claps also. Let me see if I can get him to clap. Hi. He has this little voice. Yeah. Mira. Look. Aplaude. Yay. Mira. Yay. Come on. Open your hands. Hi. Yay. He makes that little noise every time he claps because he hears me say yay. Say yeah. Yay. Yes, he is currently 17 pounds. Yes, you are. My cutie bun. I wish you guys could see him smiling. Watch. Let me see. Say yay. Yay. Woo. But yeah, we're are so blessed that he is, you know, a healthy boy. And yeah, this is what took me about 18 hours to finally push out, right? I know some women have it worse, but yeah, it was definitely an experience. And he is definitely gonna be an adrenaline freak like his dad and me, because he just likes to be bounced around, guys. He loves it. But yeah, so that is my labor and delivery story, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, comment down below. Let me know if you want to hear more stories, or if you want to know more about anything pregnancy, birth related, after postpartum, baby related, anything. I'd be happy to make those videos for you guys. Let me know. Or if there's other types of content that you prefer to see from me, like if you like more of my makeup videos, my fashion videos, my lifestyle videos, whatever the case may be, just let me know, please. I really would love to know. That's about it for this video, guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Come on, say bye with me. Mira, say bye. Mira, bye, bye, bye. Bye. I'll see you guys in my next video.